This podcast is brought to you by eBizRadio, the place to go if you want to know about the world of business. For daily podcast and article uploads, go to eBizradio.com or follow us on Twitter at eBizRadioGlobal. My name is Nick Snow, and joining me for an edition of eBiz Music is Ilse Smuts, head of FNB Marketing, a bank making a partnership with a music company. However, very keen to hear about it. So once again, thank you very much for joining me, and tell us a little bit about it and why it decided to get going.
Thank you, Nick. Very excited about, firstly, the opportunity to talk to you, and then also about this partnership. As you rightly say, a bank and music. I think FNB as a brand and as a retail bank also very used to bringing kind of almost unusual things to the market. We like to kind of create a value for our clients in ways that are a little bit different, and that people would say, oh, I didn't expect that from my bank, but I'm very happy that they're bringing it. Like the banking app and those kinds of things. And things, exciting things that are relevant to people's lifestyles. So, if we're taking care of your travel through days. So, and I think also brands always try to make those kind of emotional connections with their clients. And therefore, this year only rolled out one or two of the assets that we have, which I'll tell you about just now. So as we roll out more and more of these, it's really nice to see people's response to it.
Yes, more than just keeping their money somewhere, because I suppose that's the whole history of a bank, is somewhere to keep your money and somewhere to keep it safe. But, the more value you can get out of it, it just makes more sense. So now,
absolutely,
obviously, the purpose of this partnership is to bring another offering to your clients. And you had a few events in December, and you've got a couple of events this year with regards to this entire project. So why don't you tell me a little bit more about those?
Yes. So I think the one thing that we were very excited about early in December, we literally launched this whole initiative on the 1st of December last year. And then very soon after that, we had our first music showcase. And we did the showcase in our Portside building in Cape Town, literally on the rooftop with this 360-degree view of the city. So we wanted to give people really an exclusive experience that, literally money can't buy. So, banking is all about money, but some things money just can't buy. And that's also what we like giving our clients, that kind of experience where they get to spend time with other FNB clients and with FNB people, can ask questions. But then we also had Mafiki Zolo and Beatenberg and DJ Clock, and they entertained our gold check account clients through the night. And literally also, again, looking at how people shared the experience on social media was really, really priceless, very special to see that. And that was one of the things that we brought. One of the other things that we launched, and it's already live, is that when you try 100 Rand per month to have a gold check account, and then they get the normal kind of e-bags and access to the banking app and so on, and they obviously get access to the smart devices. And now on top of that, if they SMS the word downloads to 31138, they will qualify to get the 100 music downloads. And as I mentioned, it's from the Universal Music Group catalog, which is the biggest in the world.
Yes.
And it's also been interesting to see in terms of the website that we have for that which is fnbgoldencircle.co.za, just in the last month, to see how the artists, the chart-topping artists, how that changes and how you can interact. And what people can do is they can literally go to that website. You can listen to the first 30 seconds of a song to decide, do you want to download it? And then you can download it, and then you can store it on your phone, on your iPod, as you like. So literally even something silly like Valentine's Day that's coming up, you can download a couple of the things and almost like make an old-fashioned mixtape for somebody you love.
Yes, but that's brilliant.
So that's how it becomes relevant.
So what you're really trying to do, if what I hear you saying is correct, is you're trying to make banking sociable. You're trying to bring people together through one common aspect that they may all have, and that is that FNB is more than just somewhere to keep your money. FNB is somewhere for you to connect with people with interests that are the same as yours, and almost interact across platforms.
Yes, and in your daily life, in maybe ways and places that you wouldn't expect your bank to kind of have a touch point or have relevance. It's like, this is really a kind of a partner, not just in financial matters, but in all kinds of things that are cool and that are topical.
Yes.
And I think the thing is to, over the dinner conversation or over the braai, over the weekend, to have people have these conversations and say, this is what I get from my bank, kind of challenging each other, I guess, in the end, to ensure, am I getting the best value out of my bank in a multiple way, a number of ways.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that's the great thing, because no one has ever really thought of a bank as a social place to be. However, if we're going to go into the 21st century where everything is about social media, surely the first place, the thing that you interact with probably the most in any day is your check card or your credit card. And so you need to be able to say, well, this just isn't just a vehicle for my money. This is a vehicle for the way I enjoy my life.
That's exactly it. I think, banks are also it's a relationship-based activity or brand. It's not something like you buy one now and maybe next one in a month's time or whatever. Literally, you have a daily kind of interaction dependency. It's just you really want on a daily basis to feel like your bank is there for you, a reminder of things and what is the journey of services that are relevant to me and to my family throughout their lives.
Yes, absolutely. Because I think the biggest thing facing banks as a challenge these days is that information is so freely available that a lot of Generation Y, the younger kids in their, say, early 20s, they are beginning to not follow their parents' footsteps. If your parent was an FNB client, you're often an FNB client because they would take out a savings account for you. Now you're saying, well, let's keep with the trends because we don't want you to leave and we want to offer you more because people are after price, but value at the same time.
That's correct. Yeah. I think they do look at the price, but if you can bring more value, obviously it makes sense. Obviously, it must also be in line with what people can pay and afford. But and I think that's the great thing about competition is we all keep each other on our toes. I think if you're kind of a little bit more innovative and a little bit more relevant, and you work maybe a little bit faster or a little bit harder on things, you can kind of stretch that gap. And really kind of create a brand that people will love over, and that they won't even look at other options. But it's kind of creating that love and that ambassador for your brand.
Yes, no, most definitely. But now the music industry, as we know, has been rocked by a couple of, I wouldn't say scandals, but challenges, such as streaming music being more available, people obviously downloading it.
And you want to facilitate that. A big genre of the music world in South Africa is gospel music. And I think, you don't want to illegally take down gospel music.
No, of course not.
Just an example, but just the principle of it is a little bit. So apparently, in terms of what we hear from our contacts in the music industry, is that South Africans are actually generally quite good at actually paying for the music.
Oh, that's brilliant.
And so which is quite nice and ethical and something. And as a bank, obviously, that's something we want to help facilitate. So now you don't have to go and take the music from somewhere illegal. We're giving you a very generous opportunity to get it in a legitimate way, best quality. Things the right way.
Yes, no, absolutely. And I think your new building in Cape Town on the foreshore, an absolutely beautiful building. I imagine you have lots of plans to do with your music and that building. Perhaps you've got a few lined up for this year that people might want to know about.
I'm not going to tell you everything now. We'll talk as the opportunities come up. But I think also, obviously, yes, the Cape Town opportunity is one, but we want to kind of spread the love a little bit. So, on our website, we'll make information available, and obviously through all the social media and so on that we have, and all the other media, traditional media, we will share information as it comes up. But as part of this mix, it's not just the exclusive showcases and the downloads. We'll make actual merchandising available. So, T-shirts of your favorite band and things like that. And then also international and local concerts. So in terms of international concerts, we'll make Golden Circle tickets available to clients. There's a couple that we have lined up, but I don't want to share too much information yet. And then, lots of local shows and so on as well. That's really relevant to people here. And I think there's a big following and appreciation of our local artists and local talent. So we really also, I think that's one of the other things that we really want to do. Obviously, we are a proudly South African bank, so we also want to partner with the local artists and create more platforms and make the music.
And the struggles that we came from, music has always been a vessel to which people communicate quite freely. So and have used it to send messages. So I think when you're partnering with such an engaging medium, you really are looking to engage with your customers on a completely different level.
Yeah, and they're unifying, and just a general good energy. It's beautiful to see, when people enjoy music together and kind of forget about all kinds of other things.
Yes.
It's very nice to see that kind of unity that comes from it.
It sounds very, very exciting. And perhaps you could give us a little bit of a taster as to what FNB might have up its sleeve next. It's always good. No?
I'd love to tell you more, but let me rather, I have a team who are working very hard to release things when we're ready to do it. So
right.
let me not give you more information. But when we do have more information, I'd be very keen to chat to you about
Absolutely wonderful, Ilse. So now, of course, as head of marketing, you guys have run some very successful campaigns in the past, particularly, connecting with people. So how do you feel as though this campaign with music is going to differentiate yourself from your previous campaigns?
Yeah, I think it's just another layer. I think we've layered it of these smart devices in terms of a bank, enabling digital banking and just enabling digital communities. So I think each one of these things layer things.
Or your clients into trendsetters.
Yes, yes.
That's
we all help each other. We become this community of people who are trendsetting in terms of finance and lifestyle and technology and making life better in general.
That's brilliant. No, and I love the layers. I love the fact that it's an integrated experience, and that it's not just something that you have to do. It becomes something that you want to do. You're going to want to engage with your bank. Yes. Which I think is the next step in getting proper consumer engagement, especially with your company. So finally, Ilse, as we draw this interview to a close, if you had to say just a few sentences as to why, if someone's young out there listening to this podcast right now, they're leaving school, maybe they're getting a job, maybe they're starting university degrees, why should they come and start their future with FNB?
Okay. So firstly, FNB's been around for more than 175 years, which might sound like, ugh, but when it's about money and you had to work really hard for your money,
yes.
You want to leave your money with a bank that knows about banking, so tick on the basics. You want, I think you also said that in the beginning of the interview, you want to trust your bank. You want to know you're going to get good service. You want it to be easy to open the accounts and those kinds of things, just general good long-term banking relationship. But then on top of that, I think we add a lot of kind of flavor and icing to the whole offer, and we constantly challenge ourselves to be innovative. We constantly want to make the experiences people have with us better, and so on. So I think those are kind of all the reasons. And then you get when you refuel, you get up to 15% back. When you buy groceries, you get up to 15% of that back
yes.
in e-bucks. And then when you get those e-bucks, you can get up to 40% back on your flight tickets or on gift vouchers, on all those kinds of things. So I think people kind of really need to look at the value that they can extract. The value is there to extract. We will obviously help people and show them how they can extract it. But I think if you apply your mind just a little bit more, you can actually get a lot more back than what you pay. And that becomes a very profitable experience then for you.
Yes, absolutely. Brilliant. So it really is about creating more out of what you have, especially in today's economic conditions.
Exactly.
That's absolutely wonderful, Ilse, and it brings us wonderfully to the end of this edition of eBiz Music. Thank you very much for taking the time to chat to me right here on eBizRadio.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for the opportunity.